Hey everybody, it's me, Remy the Comic Book Poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. We're going to see if we can go 2 weeks in a row and speedrun through all the books that I'm picking up this week that I think you should read along with me. So to see what exactly is on this week's pull list, y'all check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright, as usual, 3 quick announcements, maybe 4, I don't know. Number 1, comment on this video. You will get your entry to the Poser Pile comment right here. We will give that away. On announcement number 2, Shop Talk on Thursday night. It's at 9:30 Central, where you will have the meeting of the sage comic book minds of me, America's favorite Ginger, Jay Wannabob, Jellyfingers, America's favorite lifesaver, and then Cole from Cole's Comic Claims, who has a Tom Suck mustache in the year of our Lord 2022. Also, we've got a Whatnot auction, 8 o'clock Thursday night. Like I said yesterday, I think I'm going Marvel or Mutant themed. I'll have all kinds of stuff. So we'll see what goes down there. And then last but not least, don't forget to join us on this upcoming Sunday for movie night. We have, I think it's either Hulk or Iron Man 2. Whatever comes chronologically after Iron Man in the, not the time they were released, but in like the progressing through time version. I don't know. But we'll have that, and then we'll vote on our community movie. This last Sunday's movies were Iron Man and Super Mario Brothers, which, whoo boy, that's a real blast from my childhood. Alright, let's talk books. Alright, first up, we've got ASM 92. We are, what, like 6 issues away from the, like, these promos are getting meaner and meaner in each book, where it's like, what the hell did Peter Parker do? You'll never believe. This is gonna leave you damaged. Like, thank you for evoking emotional damage and ending this Spider-Man arc before we get the new Spider-Man number 1. Next, from Dark Horse, we get Apache Delivery Service number 3. We talked about it this last week on Shop Talk, that Cole wanted to talk about the story that we were talking about, how much we like the Jenkinses as an art team. At the end of the last issue, they ended up in a hole. So what's going to happen? We don't know. I think we get a couple Marvel number 1s this week. So our first number 1 is the new Captain Carter serum, where she, is now transplanted into the Captain America universe, that she was given the super serum, she was frozen at the end of World War II, so we see what happens with Peggy Carter in this modern day. I think this was the last of the Bright Queen story arc from Tales of Exandria, the Critical Role offshoot. I've been enjoying this series, as it walks through one of the, main Monarch's main leadership entities from Campaign 2 of Critical Role. Next up, I screwed up and didn't read Chip Zdarsky's newsletter in time that apparently I wasn't supposed to read last week's Daredevil Women Without Fear before reading Devil's Reign number 5. So I might know how that ends. Whoops. I've been liking this event and all the tie-ins. We also have 2 tie-ins this week. We've got Moon Knight, and we've got Superior 4, so I'm down for both of these, although I'm wondering if I shouldn't have read this week's Moon Knight, or this last week's Moon Knight issue, since he's not in prison anymore. I don't know. Also for Marvel, we get Hawkeye Kate Bishop number 5. It is, I think, the final issue of this. I don't know if this is a mini, or if it's just the end of the arc, but this is the last issue of what we've got from Hawkeye Kate Bishop now. It's been a fun read, so I guess if you don't want to hunt them all down, then I'd say you should pick up the trade. That I think there's a good level of rereadability to this story over time. Next up from AWA Upshot is Hit Me number 1. This is written by Krista Faust, who did Bad Mother for them, and it's got the artist Priscilla, I can never say her name right, Priscilla Portraits, who did Chariot, which I love that book, got optioned. Apparently, this woman gets paid to get the crap kicked out of her. We'll see if it has something to do with blackjack as well, because she's holding an ace, but dope. Next up, we got the Joker number 13. I've enjoyed just about every single issue of this. We are now tracking Commissioner Gordon, who's tracking Vengeance on the way to that, like, creepy-ass, like, I don't know, it almost feels like a family made up by Rob Zombie in one of his horror films. Let's see what happens in this, that we know it's going to be some kind of explosive. Next up, we've got King of Spies number 4. I think this is a 6-issue mini. I really liked the last issue where we got to see him fight the weird, like, half-and-half villain. But now, he's getting to deal with some of his, another blast from his past in terms of a lost love, so I'm ready to check this out. Our second number 1 of the week comes from Image. This is Little Monsters number 1. Apparently it's the last children of Earth who are also vampires. So I want to see what happens, because apparently things start to break them apart, so I'm down with that. Next up is Lunar Room number 3. So this is the weird kind of wrestling fight clubby thing that also has, like, a paladin and some other kind of, like werewolf, lupine, I can't remember what they call people who can shapeshift that aren't necessarily solely werewolves, but it's been wild. Monkey Meat number 3, the first 2 have been bonkers, I can't wait for number 3. We get New Masters number 2, the story that's written by the pair of brothers out of Nigeria. I really loved the first one of this. I thought the art was breathtaking. I thought we learned some interesting kind of cultural riffs, and we know that our crew of outcasts, as it says, are going to deal with something that may be a bit out of their league. Next up from AWA, we get Primos number 2. We on Shop Talk talked about issue number 1 a lot. Again, this is written by Al Madrigal, who, I still remember listening to a lot of his stand-up comedy when I was in college.
I also invited all the Latino kids from the neighborhood. I thought that'd be a good idea to include everybody. Now, this wasn't their first piñata. This wasn't their first sponge tom of that day. They had seen some action, and they were ready to get in there and mess some white kids up. They were organized. They were all doing the pregame NBA thing at one point. They were ready to do some damage, because that's what a piñata inspires. It's like, hey, kids, let's get your favorite cartoon character and let's lynch his ass. Then we can all take turns beating the crap out of it till his guts come out. We can all scramble for his sugary entrails. Who's with me?
So we now maybe get to find out why the brother is kind of tapped by his ancestral bloodline to help right the coming threat to his Earth, or why exactly you have naysayers who are off to F up the timeline, or maybe even why the original set of brothers who were launched into space from, their civilization, why there was a rift in their relationship. Our next number 1 for Marvel is Punisher number 1. I'm real excited about this. Again, I will tell you that shirt is not the one that he's wearing at the end of the Daredevil. Nope, I can't say that. I will tell you that I've seen him in a different costume in something else. So, again, I don't know if this all got mixed up because of some of the Devil's Reign stuff being messed up on the release timeline. Next up from Image is Radiant Red number 1. I thought Rogue Sun was okay. I thought it was definitely better than the Supermassive issue from the week before. So we'll see if I enjoy learning about Radiant Red, especially since we got that little piece of Radiant Red's origin, around like issue number 5 or 6? Next up, we get Sabretooth number 2. We talked about this one at length on Shop Talk when number 1 came out, that, we have a lot of questions about, Sabretooth kind of being able to project his body or his memory beyond the belly of the beast that he's in. But more importantly, a bunch of people randomly just showed up and he was like, welcome to hell, y'all. So we'll see if we have like a Hellions-like team coming together, if he's just going to kill all these people who show up. Next up, probably one of the books that I'm the most excited for this week is Gwenverse number 1, and I have bought a sacrilegious number of variants and exclusives of this book. So hell yeah. Thor 23, we get the finale of the God of Hammers. So I want to see, especially with the last couple of panels of this where we see what Thor's new weapon of choice may be. Like, if he bests the entity that was inside Mjolnir, does Mjolnir now become weak? Does this change the image of Thor that we now know? Next up, we get Venom number 6. I, again, have been loving, what has been happening on this series. I'm going to see if I can lean in real close and see if there's a V on that, or if it's an Al Ewing issue. But it's focusing on Dylan going up against the Life Foundation, so hell yeah. Another one of the books that I am the most excited for is We Live, Age of the Palladians, number 1, that I am trying to pick up both the white and the black cover, but I'm super excited for this book. We've got Women of Marvel, number 1, so their, celebration of Women's History Month. Now I'm wondering if we're going to really get both Lives and Deaths this week. I thought it was weird that I didn't read a Wolverine book last week, so I don't know what caused for one to get pushed back, because I think in looking at kind of the gospel according to Hickman and the reading list at the back, that they are put out on separate weeks, so we'll see. And then we get X-Men Legends 12. And apparently this is setting up a tie-in to Excalibur, so that's awesome. The last thing that we will do real fast is shout out the one book that is coming from Scout this week. It is the first spin-off series, I think, from the Perhaps-Nots. Basically, it's a wild book about paranormal investigation, and they can travel through time. So I'm excited. I've enjoyed the Perhaps-Nots book, or 2 that I have read to this point, so there you go. I think I failed at my going under 10 minutes, but I'm still not at 20 because it says that I'm at 12 before I start editing uhs, and me looking in to try and read some things gone. So, let me know if there's anything I'm missing out on. If so, I know you're letting me know in the chat over here. If you're on the rewind, let me know in the comments below. But regardless of where you are chatting at us from, I'm just pointing everywhere now. Comment on the video. Right there. Type whatever you want. It gets you an entry to get a poster pile that will give away on Thursday night between 10 and 10:30 Central on Shop Talk. You don't have to be present to win, but if you win and I don't have a way to get a hold of you, then hopefully you're watching to see if you want it, or you have a friend that watches the show that can give you a good poke. But that's all I got, y'all. As always, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.